Warriors, you're in for a treat today. Titania Jordan is joining us. Let me tell you a little bit about this warrior. She is a true warrior. She is the Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Parent Officer. I love that title of Bark Technologies, an online safety company that helps keep kids safe online and in real time. Titania is renowned, a thought leader on digital parenting. She's contributed to everything you've ever read, from Wall Street Journal to Vogue magazine to Daily Mail, Fox Business, Huffington Post, and also Parenting in a Tech World. She co-authors along with Matt McKee. And this is a wonderful book. I'm going to hold it up actually, because I never talk about anything unless I purchase it, I read it, I research it. I bought this for so many people for gifts. I continue doing that. We're going to have all this information in the body of the video. We must continue pushing out good products. And also, Titania, 2.0 is childhood, this documentary, which I've actually been showing around in the last 2 years or so. Titania is all over the place. I've seen her on so many different TV shows, from The Doctors, CBS, Good Morning America, CNBC. Too much to list right here. But there's one thing all of you need to know. I am urging all of you to go and follow Bark, Facebook, Twitter. I think it's called X now, X, IG, TikTok. And we're going to get into that because TikTok can be safe and fun, but you just got to know what to do. And Titania Jordan joins us right now. Bark Technologies is where it's all at. The website is bark.us. Don't go there until we're done, though, everybody. Titania Jordan, welcome to the Warriors.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and for all of your support.
Absolutely. One thing I like is you make my job a lot easier because we want to raise awareness about all these issues and spread, education, and it changes on a daily basis. And I think parents and caregivers are so overwhelmed, they'll just tune out. So you make it very easy, even with your parent blog you do. Everything about the different platforms. But before we get into everything, I must ask you, because we are going to be talking about the most important, the 2023 report that Bark put out. But before that, I want you to share with us a little bit about you. What do you want us to know about you? Anything you want to share? Like, how did you get into all of this? How did it start for you?
Wow. Well, it's
It's a loaded question. So answer as you see fit,
Yeah. I feel that it was a God thing personally for me. Bark is not a religious organization. It's a for-profit company helping families of all beliefs and backgrounds. But I personally feel that this was absolutely something that was meant to be and divinely inspired. And so I'm just incredibly grateful that God led me here, despite the fact that I don't have a degree in computer science or data science or engineering, yet I'm working at one of the most impactful tech companies that's out there right now. So it's incredible.
I love that because, again, I selfishly say that you help me do my job as a warrior to spread it to other warriors. When they say, I can't handle this, I go to Bark, bark.us. It's all laid out in a simple form, easy lifting. It's there. And I can't tell you how many people thank me for that. So we've got to keep up all of this cross promotion and getting people just to read and understand there are a lot of resources out there. You just have to know where to look. Now, let's talk about Bark. Let's explain. If somebody's just tuning in, what's Bark? What is she talking about? Is it a dog? What are these two women? Because I always realize what you talk about, what maybe I talk about, we take sort of for granted. People don't even know. So tell us about Bark. What is Bark? What kind of company?
So Bark Technology started in 2015 as an AI tool to analyze children's devices, social media, accounts, texting, that sort of thing. And so it was an app basically that you would connect to your children's devices and accounts. And then the algorithm would run in the background, detect dangers, and send parents alerts. And the dangers it would detect would be things like cyberbullying, explicit content, sexual violence, cyberbullies, predators, and more. And then it evolved to have an in-home product that helped with things that an app couldn't connect to. So we went from software to then adding hardware. We also knew that our tech that was helping parents could also help schools and help to prevent school shooting threats. So we gave our school to any tech in the United States that wanted to use it absolutely free. And so now we're in, over 3,700 school districts across the
Wow.
nation, which is incredible. And our app and our hardware help to protect close to 7 million children across the nation. And then most recently, we launched a smartphone, not because children need smartphones younger or at all, but we know they're getting them. And so, if children are going to get a smartphone, it needs to be a safer smartphone. And iPhones are not the best phones for kids. Um, Androids are a better alternative.
I want to get into that a little bit. I like what you said, though. There's something that all we can really do is suggest and provide the tools because there's something called parental autonomy. So it's tough. You can't say, don't get your child a phone because
Right.
they're getting the phones, as you pointed out. So let's make them safe and give them the information. Now, we have to get into this report because I
Yes.
use it like a Bible. Tell us about Bark's 2023 annual report. First of all, every year, Bark analyzes the rate at which children encounter problematic content and
Yeah.
people online. And this year, you and Bark processed an astounding 5.6 billion activities on family accounts across text, emails, YouTube, and 30 plus apps and social media platforms. I don't even know how you do it, but go. You're going to tell us all about this because this is the one thing, Titania, like everybody needs to have, and all this discussion around digital safety. This is it, in my opinion. Tell us about the report. What are some of your findings?
Yeah. So you mentioned the large data set, 5.6 billion messages, which is incredible, to really give us an accurate picture of what it's like to be a child today, not only a child, but a teenager as well. So, whether it's self harm and suicide, sexual content, anxiety, drugs and alcohol, bullying, depression, disordered eating, predators, or violence, we analyze these nine alert types, if you will. And what was really shocking and saddening was that disordered eating actually got worse year over year from 2022 to 2023, which is not a surprise given how much children are spending time, on apps that are glorifying things that are not important and negatively contributing to that comparison trap mentality. So, in addition to that, something that continues to break my heart is the rate at which children are involved in a self harm or suicidal situation. And we found that 33% of tweens and 57% of teens were involved in a self harm or suicidal situation. So, for those of you who don't know, suicide is the second leading cause of death in children in this nation. And at Bark, every single day, we're sending around 85 to 100 severe self harm or suicidal ideation alerts to parents about their kids. So it's absolutely heartbreaking. I know at Lynn's Warriors, you're a very, very strong advocate and warrior for fighting human trafficking and predation. And so knowing that 8% of tweens and 10% of teens encountered predatory behaviors from someone online is something I feel we should probably talk about.
I do not know where to even start with you right now.
And I only talked about three of
And,
them.
I actually do feel though, even though there's more discussion about it, the bullying, we need to step it up. People don't
Yeah.
associate. Look, the Warriors, we say we are about human trafficking, sexual exploitation, but Titania, I like to think of all these issues as a big wheel with like a lot of spokes, and they kind of all go together and make this big wheel turn in society today with kids. I feel like we have to talk more about bullying. People don't really understand that, including adults. They don't understand. I just did a focus group with children,
Mm.
and the reaction was they get a lot of, man up, that kind of thing. So the adults aren't really understanding what they're going through, the kids, the teens. And also the dangerous, the algorithms with the eating disorders, how
Mhm.
shocking this is when I talk about it, again, using Bark's information. People are just I'm in the middle of New York City and Titania, they're shocked. They're like shocked on a daily basis.
Yeah.
What do you think, why do you think let me ask you this one. Again, answer any way you see fit. Why do you think people just close down? Like when I talk about these issues a lot, which is simply for education, raising awareness, very simply, this is what you can do. It is happening. We have all the studies. Why do you think they just shut down? They don't want to hear about it a lot.
It's overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
very overwhelming, and there's not an easy solution of next steps to how to make sure your child's okay because every child is different. It's very, very hard to be a parent in today's world. Parenting has always been hard, but then you introduce the internet and social media, and it becomes exponentially harder. So they don't know what to do, and they're scared and they're worried. It's it makes
That's it.
sense.
It
Yeah.
it makes sense, and also, well, but we're gonna send everybody to bark.us for everything, but also just coming out of the last, what has it been now, 4 years, this whole pandemic, this phase has made everything even more unsettling,
Mhm.
and everybody else online. What are your thoughts about that, coming out of that whole period?
I'm really glad you asked. And quickly back to your former question, there's also the element of parents just don't think it could happen to their kid. They
Right.
think, not my kid would never. But we need to remind everybody that good kids make bad choices. So, but moving on to your next question about coming out of the pandemic, we are seeing, and we felt this, but we couldn't quite identify it. But now that we're a little bit outside of it, we're seeing humans struggling because they've been so isolated,
Yes.
and digital connection does not replace in real life connection. It's a wonderful to have, if you're isolated, let's say in Alaska, and the only friends and family you have are in Atlanta, and the only way you can connect is FaceTime. Totally understand that. But as humans, we've got to get outside of our houses and spend time in real life with other people and forming authentic human connection, because we're craving it, and our children especially, for 2 to 3 years missed out on critical developmental milestones, because they were just in front of a screen and hanging out with really stressed out parents and siblings.
Wow. I wish you could have seen Titania yesterday here in New York City. It was 66 degrees. Thousands were in Central Park. I even posted something I usually don't do, but I posted because it just warmed my heart. Peop
Yes.
I posted some roller skating because I just wanted to feel good,
Yes.
that people are out and their community creates change is like one of our hashtags. We hear so much bad things about, New York City and other cities and other places altogether. This was a real feel good. The museums, we were at the Metropolitan, packed. Like, I'm not exaggerating, like thousands of people all over, every age, every type of person. It warmed my heart. I'm like, yes, yes, New York, it's coming back because people are craving get out, be together, do
Yes.
not isolate, and that's something we teach at the Warriors, like to empower. Force yourselves, don't isolate, talk, reactions, brainstorm, critically analyze, just these little tidbits that people might have known but forgot about in the last few years because of everything that was happening around our country and the world. Let me ask you
Yes.
something. 2015 Bark, and you mentioned AI. I feel like Bark was at the forefront because now we've got the artificial intelligence and the AGI, which that
Right.
scares me, this artificial, general intelligence. What
Yes.
can you share about that with us?
So, it's interesting how the conversation around AI has shifted from a theme that seemed really, really far off, to something that could be perceived as a very, very real and present danger. And so I am very proud of the way we use artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to help us analyze a great deal, volumes of information, because a human couldn't do it. And it would be very expensive to have hundreds of thousands of humans doing it, and it would also be a lot of privacy issues, right? You don't want a bunch of humans looking at children's data. Um, but an algorithm that can get smarter with each data point and analyze and decipher whether something is a danger or not, and then send it to a parent or caregiver is, I think, a very powerful and positive use of AI. versus a negative use of AI, which we're seeing more and more of, is deep fakes and sextortion going around. They'll use somebody's face on an AI generated body, and all of a sudden you're involved in pornographic media that you didn't actually participate in, and it's really sad and really disturbing and affecting our children now.
Yeah, and we know that the law lags behind technology. That's
Very
just
much so.
that's what's going. Okay, so this being said, because I do want to get into this. Um, oh, I have so many questions for you.
That's great.
But
Keep
but
them up.
ex but explain though, because you have these certain programs every month that cost like pennies, basically. I want you to explain right now what those are, using the device, how that actually works, and this nominal cost to keep kids safe.
Sure. Yeah. So we have a variety of options. First of all, if you go to bark.us and you want to just try our app, we offer a free 7-day trial. So right off the bat, we're not asking for any money. So you can just try it out and see if it works for you. But if you do decide that it works for you, the pricing is super reasonable. It starts at $14 a month for our app that monitors text and email and YouTube and uh, over 30 apps and platforms, monitors web searches, saved photos and videos. You get alerts. If there are problems, you can manage screen time. You can block websites and apps. You can keep up with your children's location in real time. It's pretty incredible. So $14 a month, and that's unlimited connected devices and accounts, unlimited children, so you don't have to pay $14 per kid. So it's a really great deal. And then for our smartphone, we offer a few different data plans, but it starts at $39 a month. So the cool thing is that you don't have to drop, a couple $100 or $1,000 even on a smartphone and then pay for a monthly service. It comes with service already built in, and you just pay $39 a month at the lower tier plan. And it's unlimited talk and text. And the Bark app that I just mentioned, that's $14 a month, is part of the phone. It comes built in. So it's like you're getting additional value for $39 a month. So pretty incredible.
Warriors, you have no excuse. You heard Titania. Again, we're going to have this all laid out in the body of the video because, again, with parents being overwhelmed, as you pointed out, and I believed, and it's like getting hit on the head with a hammer every day. Like, so this
Yeah.
does it all for you, and you can't put a price tag on feeling safe, or feeling comfortable. So we're going to be really pushing this because everybody needs Bark. Now, let me ask you something. So give us an idea. Every day we have new apps popping up, platforms, part of the overwhelming of society. Give us an idea of some of the ones you like that are safe, you might recommend. Parents
Mm,
should be caregivers on the lookout for, and kind of how they need to get into this discussion with their kids, like what they're on, because we know wherever the kids are, so are the predators. So
yeah.
how do we open this all up, and what are things you would recommend?
The first thing I would say is don't give your children unfettered, unmonitored, unfiltered access to the internet. Excuse me. No matter what they use, whether it's an Xbox, an iPad, a hand-me-down smartphone, a new phone, there are ways for them to access the entire world, and there's ways for the entire world to access them. So making sure you keep connected tech in common areas of the home, no connected tech in bedrooms or behind closed doors, no connected tech overnight. Make sure the internet shuts off. When y'all go to bed, the internet goes to bed. There's ways to do that. A quick Google search for setting time limits on my home internet can help you out there. Or you can go to bark.us and look at our resource guide for how to set up parental controls. But that's the first step, is just the location and the time of day and the time spent online. And then you've got to look at what your kids are accessing. Do they play Roblox? Do they go on YouTube? Do they have a smartphone where they're able to access Snapchat and Discord? You've got to look at all the different places that your children spend time online, and then make sure you've set up parental controls for those places and spaces. And again, a lot of these platforms have built-in parental controls that are free that you can activate. It just takes some time to Google them and figure out how to do that. I will say that just handing a kid connected tech and making sure they do it in the living room during the day isn't enough, and that's why Bark exists. If you asked me about safe apps, there really aren't any safe apps. Any app that allows for communication with somebody else, whether it's text-based, the use of emojis, photo, video, live streaming, there's room for danger. I will say that Facebook Messenger Kids has proven to be one of the safer way for children to communicate with other kids via an app. So that one is something I actually would recommend. But by far, if you want your kids to be able to communicate with friends that they know or family, the Bark phone is the best way to do that, because you can approve contacts, set time limits. In fact, the Bark phone now, we just released this, won't even save explicit media to the device. So if your kid is an iPhone, for example, they can take a nude photo or a video of themselves, and it will live in their camera roll. It will live in the iCloud. A child can send it. A child can receive it. But with the Bark phone, if a child tries to take a nude photo or video, or if somebody tries to send them one, it will not happen. That media is detected and removed, so that they can't be put in more danger.
Wow. Everybody needs the Bark phone.
Yes.
I work with a lot of teachers across the country that report to me the kids are taking these nude images.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm dating myself, like, trading of the old Pokemon or baseball cards in my day. They've grown up. And I always explain they don't know any different. This is the world. They've grown this digital bubble. So it's up to us to provide the safety net and talk to them open and honestly about all of this, which is why bark.us is so beautiful in everything you've done. And by the way, thank you, because your emoji dictionary, whatever you're calling it, which you update, every once in a while, I share that with everybody. I
Oh,
have,
thank
I
you.
have, no, but here's the thing. Every reaction has been, I didn't know any of this about these emojis. So excellent job with that. I want to talk a little bit about TikTok, because there has been such discussion about TikTok. I always took the argument, if you want to call it that, whatever. Every platform is dangerous, not just TikTok. So let's leverage the internet for good. And Bark is on TikTok. So what are your thoughts on TikTok, and what do you want everybody to know about TikTok and any of these platforms?
Yeah, great question. So with TikTok specifically, obviously, if you are a government official, FBI, CIA, Navy SEAL, you probably shouldn't be on that app or have that app, because again, it's not owned by a US based company. So if there are risks, they probably live there when it comes to national security. That said, none of it has been proven. And if you're an average, mom like me, probably not a great deal of harm um, from being on that app. That said, I'm just speaking about national security. There's plenty of harm when it comes to just spending too much time in an app, and not moving your body or connecting in real life with other humans. Also, from an algorithmic standpoint, any app, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, their
Mhm.
goal is to keep you in their app as long as possible, because that's how they make money. You are the product. And so they're going to work hard to show you content that they think will keep you in that app. And that's fine if you limit yourself to, I don't know, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, just because you want to be entertained or maybe even digitally connect with other creators. But the problem lies with if they think you want to see, fitness content, but you're actually struggling with an eating disorder, and they start to show you content for how to restrict calories or lose weight fast in a non healthy way. Or if you're a child and you're struggling with your mental health, and they realize that you want to see content about depression or cutting or suicide or that sort of thing. So it can send you down deep, dark rabbit holes quickly. and there's nobody there to say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't good for you. You should stop doing this. They're certainly not going to tell you that. So, yes, Bark has a presence on TikTok. I, Titania Jordan, also have a presence on TikTok. And no matter what social media platform I'm on or that Bark is on, we're using it as a tool, because it is a tool, to educate, to empower, to connect with others in a meaningful way and help lift each other up, and make sure that you have all the information that you deserve to have.
Yeah. And I also think, well, this is what I think, Titania. The pendulum has kind of gone so far to the right, or just it's going to start, I see it tiny bit swinging back. For instance, even Bark. More people are being educated about Bark. More people are aware. We talk about, dangerous algorithms.
Yes.
We have more groups here in New York where the kids are actually putting down the phones. It could be a half hour a day. We're getting them out of the school day in different districts. So I actually have a lot of hope that if
Good.
we keep, just pushing and educating and sharing, we are going to make inroads. What is one of your biggest concerns right now?
For children and the internet,
Yeah.
um, overall, from a mental and physical health standpoint, it's uh, it's just the amount of time that they are sedentary. They sit most of the day at school, and they come home and they sit or lie down in front of a screen. And that's not what humans are meant to do. We are meant to move our bodies.
Mhm.
And if it's impacting their sleep, sleep is where your body repairs itself and grows, and it's just so critical for our physical and mental health. So that's my biggest concern, because it affects the most people. Second to that, what really breaks my heart is the fact that there's a rise in sextortion, and it's affecting older teenage males. So a lot of us might think, oh, my son is 17. I'm, a couple months out from him graduating. We've had all the talks, straight A student, great at sports, good friends. We're good. We're so good. Well, unfortunately, those are the boys that you hear about in the news who thought they were chatting with, a really cute girl on Instagram in the DMs, and then they, exchanged nudes as a way to flirt, because that's what kids are doing now at 17. And it turns out it's not a girl his age. It's a ring of horrible people, in Nigeria or even in the US, and they're looking to extort that child for money or even more nudes and photos, nudes and videos. And then those boys that are almost adults legally decide to die by suicide, take their own life, because they're so ashamed, they're so embarrassed. Um, and the extorters on the other end are actually pushing them to do that. It's so heartbreaking to see some of the messages from law enforcement that they've shared to the media between a child and an extortionist. Um, and that's one of my biggest fears, again, because you just don't think it would happen to someone like that. And it has been happening, and it's on the rise. The FBI released an alert, a warning about it. So make sure that your children, and especially your older children, know that there is no mistake they could ever make that would ever separate them from your love and your support, and that you will help them get through anything together, even something as horrific as that.
I'm glad you said that, because I use a hashtag too. I started a few months ago, Parent Up. I always
Mm,
kind of tread it lightly with the parent thing a little bit, again, with the parental autonomy. I'm not judging, I'm not telling, I'm not an expert. I'm just passionate. I just
mhm.
want to educate everybody.
Yes.
And I wish, Titania, because this is society today, exchanging nudes. We don't like it. What? It's being done. The kids could just openly come to us, and just say, I did this without having a parent yell at them, which I've dealt with a lot, or
Yeah.
delete the photo, delete the information, scared. Oh, you're going to go to jail. I've heard this because you're going to exchange, you exchanged a nude image. No, no, no. There are steps in place always. What are the steps? You'd recommend calling 911 immediately? Uh,
Um,
do
I
you put
don't
out
know.
that advice? Like, I just say call local authorities and
I would actually look up the Internet Crimes Against Children unit for your
Mhm.
state and contact that line directly, because that's who 911 and local law enforcement are going to refer you to in the end, is because that's what they deal with. It's the, the ICAC unit, ICAC. Every state has an amazing group of professionals dedicated to helping pursue justice for children who have been harmed by the internet. And that's who I would reach out to. In addition to that, after you've consulted with them, because while your first action might be to just delete everything and block everyone, sometimes you need to be able to preserve that evidence. Take screenshots, usernames, that sort of thing. So before you do anything, consult with them. But then as it evolves, it's also important to know about the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's site called Take It Down. Once you've gotten a good path of resolution, reaching out to make sure that whatever media lives out there of a minor can be taken down. NCMEC's Take It Down site is a very important resource as well.
Excellent. Again, we'll have all this information in the body of the video for everybody. Finish us up. What's next for you, for Bark? Final words. What's happening? Again, entering all of this AI. Where do we go from here?
Just let your children know that you are there for them and you love them unconditionally, no matter what. And be very honest with them. There's no way you can possibly understand what it's like to grow up in their world, because you didn't have these same points of access, but you want to do it with them. You want to help them. But you also need their help. You need them to work with you and work on building that relationship with you. I try to get my son to go for a walk with me a couple times a week, just to get out of the house and get away from a screen. Ask more questions than give advice. The more you get your children to talk, the better. And just listen. Just listen as much as you can. And then lean on each other. We need help doing this. And that's why there's a Facebook group called Parenting in a Tech World that now has almost 500,000 parents in it.
Wow.
I know. It's a great
I think
resource.
I remember 30,000 parents. What? It's 500,000.
Clearly,
What
there's
happened?
a need. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. Great.
Yeah. So talk to your kids, love on your kids, let them do more of the talking, and join the Facebook group so that you can then talk with other parents about it.
And let's just keep empowering each other. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. There's no stupid question, I tell people.
Yep.
Great resources are there. Bark.us alone is full of everything we need. One-stop shopping, everybody. Titania Jordan, I want to thank you for being on the digital forefront and helping kids and families stay safe in 2024. Not an easy job, but you are remarkable and you are passionate. It shows. I feel it. I want everybody, again, to go to bark.us, share the information, retweet, go on TikTok. Share. We like to share facts, not fears here at the Warriors. And again, safety is something no one can put a price tag on. So remember, wherever the kids are, so are the predators. But we're going to have bark.us all over. Every kid's going to have it. Every family's going to have it. We're going to make that happen. So let's leverage the internet for good, and let's keep up the great work. Titania Jordan, you're such a warrior. You are a digital warrior today. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're so busy. I am thrilled to talk to you, and we will be talking again soon, because there's a lot more to cover with everything with the internet. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Titania.